Oh no, the Marvel VFX artists are unionizing. Somebody better call the Pinkertons. We gotta put them in their place. So yeah, about a month ago or so, Marvel CGI people, the people that make the CGI, said that they wanted to unionize. Now this wasn't a reactionary thing to the writers and actors doing their own strikes or whatever. This is a completely different issue, probably. Honestly, for like the last 10 years, this idea of VFX artists getting treated like garbage has kind of been a big deal. Probably the most famous incident was in 2013 during the Oscars. The VFX crew of the hit Tiger-related film Life of Pi, they were doing their acceptance speech when they started talking about how they were going bankrupt right after winning the award for best visuals. And then the Jaws music just started blaring and drowning them out. Now this moment is often recounted as some malicious attempt at the big Hollywood executives to try and silence the VFX artists' calls for unionization. And while I wouldn't put it past Hollywood to do something like this, it should be noted, rewatching the clip, the music does actually start playing before any of these issues are discussed. They just went over the allotted time, and the playing music to get people on stage is standard practice. But even still, they did actually go bankrupt after this. So yeah, I'm gonna do a hot take here, guys. I'm gonna say some controversial things. CGI work is pretty underappreciated in Hollywood. Please clap. I've always been fascinated with the obscene amount of time, energy, and talent that goes into even the worst Hollywood blockbusters when it comes to the CGI. Even the bad CGI. Like seriously, this stuff, it ain't easy. It is an unappreciated art. You know, you have people that still yearn for the days of practical effects, you know, when stuff used to look good. But like even when the CGI does look good, you just don't think about it. If a movie's effects look photorealistic, it's unrecognized. But if it's bad, or even subpar, or even just slightly underwhelming, that's gonna get a lot of attention. In the past few years, the Marvel movies have become infamous for their really bad CGI. And the reason for it, for this, is Disney. It's Disney. Yeah, real shocker there. It's not the VFX artists that just don't want to try. They're not just being lazy, and that's why your movies look like this. Disney's just notorious for its awful treatment of VFX workers, especially those working on its Marvel projects. I mean, it makes sense. Think about it. Disney wants to pump out as much content as possible in a feeble and fruitless attempt to maintain unsustainable growth post-Endgame. But it turns out that unsustainable growth was, well, unsustainable. Yeah, it's kind of a meme about how many Marvel things get whipped out every year, but you gotta think, somebody's gotta work on all that. And the way that all this works, that people work on these VFX for these Marvel movies, is that a VFX shop will bid on a project, and the lowest bidder wins. And everybody needs the work. See, this isn't really a paid-by-the-hour sort of thing either. It's like a flat fee. So they give, you know, some money for the studio to finish a project, and if the project is really demanding, it can mean that the workers end up working for less than minimum wage, all to provide the effects for a movie that is also bad and gets forgotten within a few days. And Disney loses millions. Normally, you just think the VFX artists could just not work for Disney, but yeah, it doesn't really work that way. Disney is a giant in the entertainment industry, and nobody wants to risk not getting a job from them in the future or getting blacklisted by their higher-ups. So if you ever wonder why now, in 2023, Marvel CGI looks worse than it did 10 years ago, well, that's it. Disney doesn't seem to value that part of the filmmaking equation. Even though it's also what they plan their entire films around, it is nonsensical to just assume that the visuals of a movie are irrelevant, especially if you don't give the scriptwriters time to focus on that either. Like, Disney is so convinced the audience is brain dead and will eat up their Mickey Mouse slop for nothing. At least give me a pretty picture if you're not gonna tell me tell me a good story, Disney. Mr. Mickey. Yeah, fiduciary responsibility, my ass. The blame here doesn't go on the CGI artists, and even if they didn't try their hardest, which they probably still did, I wouldn't blame them. Honestly, when you got a deadline to make, you have to make compromises, and those compromises look like this. So now the Marvel VFX team is unionizing. They can demand better pay or just to get paid or to work less hours, whatever they want. And this is unique within the industry. Before this point, you'd think Disney would just blacklist whoever tried to unionize, but now, well, it's Disney unionizing. Not just in the Marvel division, but Disney itself. So to be honest, this seems like it should be a pretty clear-cut case of, okay, that's some good news. I know unions can be a contentious, debatable, controversial thing but most could probably agree that Disney was in the wrong here. VFX artists probably should get a little bit better treatment. And ideally, the rest of the industry will unionize as well. But I gotta address the elephants in the room. The AI elephant. It's a stuffed animal, apparently. Now, I'm not stupid. I know that these Hollywood videos are going to devolve into some sort of culture war fight in the comments. They always do. And it usually hinges on those precarious robots. We're back to the robots. And I imagine right now, if you go scrolling through this comment section, a lot of people have already smashed at their keyboards without watching until this point in the video. And they're saying one of two things. Some are gonna say, well, those CGI VFX people, they can strike if they want to, but they're stupid because Disney's just gonna replace them with the AI. Haha, your jobs are antiquated. Learn to code. And then somebody in response will say, no, they won't replace them with AI because you can't copyright AI works and you can't make money with it. It's the next crypto. And both of these points are really, really stupid. Yeah, you can't copyright AI works, but if you make an artistic creation that just happens to include something generated by AI, that doesn't remove it from your possession. Just because Disney used some AI-generated art in Secret Invasion's opening doesn't mean the show is now in the public domain. If Netflix uses an AI-generated background, that doesn't mean it just can't make money now. It does make money, you know? But again, this doesn't matter. Because the other side, arguing the AI is gonna replace these people's jobs anytime soon, is pretty silly. So to explain this, let's make a short film. Using the official Knowledge Husk mascot, Husky the Snowman. Yes, I know, beloved staple of the channel. If I want to do things the traditional way, the normal way, I would have to design Husky the Snowman, model him in a 3D program, use shaders to give him color, add a skeleton, an animation rig, and well, there you go, a slightly acceptable YouTube channel mascot. But if I wanted to just use AI, I could say, make me a snowman. There you go. I'm not gonna lie, this does look kinda better than this. And this took, probably at least a few hours, a few minutes, I don't know. And this took less than a second. It took less than a second to make this. But let's say I wanted to make a short film with Husky. Now this short film's really, really simple. Husky just needs to, you stand it right there. He's gotta run over to a tree, trip on the ground, get back up, and keep on running. It's about the simplest movie, the simplest effects you're gonna get, right? So here's my Husky. Here's the Husky I designed. Put him in the AI, tell the AI to do it. Nope, that doesn't do it. And these are any iteration, tens of thousands of iterations, millions of iterations. I guarantee you we will not get this right now. I can ask the AI to create its own snowman, not using Husky, and it might be a little bit better, but But using Blender, using CGI and not AI, I have control over everything including keyframe. I can move the camera as I like. I can make the snowman move to the exact position on the screen, XYZ axis. And with that power, with that control, this is what I made. Now, granted, it doesn't look much better than the AI, but imagine I actually knew how to use Blender. This would look great. The greatest asset in the world of digital art is control. It's why we don't use that hand-drawn cell animation anymore. The fact that digital art has an undo button, digital painting, coloring, blending, it's just too good to give up. But with AI, you give up that control. Sure, I had to spend a little bit of time creating the 3D model for Husky and the landscape and the animation, but after that I have full control over every detail of this world. I'm not gonna lie, obviously this stuff is getting better, and this will probably have an effect on the industry. In CGI, you have concept artists who create designs, and then people turn those into physical models, and then render that in CGI and apply the shaders and textures and UV maps and animation rigs, and somebody has to animate this stuff, and then composite that into a scene. But with AI, a really powerful AI, you could draw a picture, have that picture be turned into some sort of 3D model asset drawing thing, and then have that 3D asset turn into a real 3D mesh that you can work with. And you could cut out like 75% of the time and jobs required to make this stuff work. I don't know, that might not happen for a while though. And if it does, I imagine it'll just be like when the CGI artists took the jobs of the practical artists, you know, yeah. Who's gonna replace the AI artists in 20 years?